What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And Levon Maynard.
And welcome to the show.
What is going on? So if you're listening in, this is our non-cyber episode of the week. So typically we talk about everything else but cybersecurity, but continue to tune in Monday through Thursday. So Monday and Tuesday are our topics. This past Monday, we talked about crypto.com and its two-factor authentication issues. We talked about Merck on Tuesday, and it receiving almost $2 billion in cybersecurity insurance from an attack they suffered back in 2017. On Wednesday, we discussed the Red Cross and its breach of or data leak, I should say. They lost 515,000 plus information on those who have been displaced due to war and migration, things of that nature. So a very vulnerable group has their information out there. We don't know exactly who attacked them. So it's a definitely interesting conversation where we discuss when it is appropriate to negotiate with terrorists. Long story short, no, but it's a very interesting conversation. It's very nuanced, right? Like how you should go about it. So definitely tune into Wednesday. Again, Thursday, there's no Ask Us to Speed this week because I'm losing my voice. And now here we are on Friday. So this is where I asked the question, what everybody's been up to. I definitely got to talk about the Microsoft acquisition of just drew a blank. Activision, Blizzard, and King, respectively. So we definitely have to get into that as well. But without further ado, how's everybody's week been?
Yeah, my week's been pretty good, been pretty chill. Not much going on here as far as like activities. I think the wife and I stayed home most of the week. Haven't really watched a whole bunch either. We finished off the Cobra Kai season for this this recent season, and we definitely enjoyed it. It's definitely very entertaining. Like the series, I think it's like we said at the finale, like it looks like they gave the cliffhangers for the next season, but maybe the cliffhangers weren't as good as some of the prior cliffhangers, but kind of like obviously they're going to try to keep it going as long as possible, but maybe this cliffhanger isn't like, it's not really sucking us in as much as some of the stuff before. But I'm still excited about the next season when it comes out. I'll definitely be checking it out still. But besides that, I've been watching some anime called One Piece. I've been trying to catch up on that one. I'm on episode. It took me a long time because I didn't get into it until like maybe a couple years ago. But I started watching the episodes, and I remember like I was traveling a lot, and I'd download the episodes and I watch them on an airplane, end up getting through like 900 plus episodes. Over time. But I mean, actually, at the time I'd only gotten through like, I don't know, maybe like 600 or something like that from flying, and they're only like 20-minute episodes, so they don't really. If you cut out like the intro, the outro, and like the previews or whatever.
So you're being serious on that 900 number?
Yeah.
I thought you were like,
they're up to like 1,000 plus episodes now.
What?
Yeah, I'm behind. I'm at episode like 930, so I got to catch up, see what I've been missing. I got 70 episodes I got to get through.
Wow. My son keeps trying to put me on. No.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the longest running animes out there. I don't know if there's anything longer than it, but longest one that I know of. But it's a good series. I like it. I like it a lot. Besides that, I've been playing some of the same games, playing some Halo, played some of the campaign today, and then I've been playing some of the multiplayer, trying to get through trying to rank my character up. You can get ranked. We play the ranked games. You play against other people that are ranked within the same skill bracket, and trying to get up to they have an Onyx level. That's the top tier. Okay. Right now I'm at the platinum. No, the diamond 3. And then once you get up to the next, after I get diamond 6, then the next one's gonna be Onyx. So that's what I'm trying to get. But I like that they have Onyx as like the final tier, because that's like, gotta get that blackness in there.
There you go. There it is.
But
I start thinking about rapping. You say Onyx, I'm like,
Right,
Slam!
Onyx.
Right.
That's what I started thinking of. Like,
I know,
let
right?
the boys be boys.
Oh man. But yeah, that's been most of the stuff I've been up to. Playing some Yakuza 4. Getting through that. I'm like maybe halfway through the game. Still trying to go through the saga. After I get this one done, I gotta get through number 5, 6, and then like a dragon, like Life of a Dragon, something like that. I forgot what the last one is. But been enjoying those games. They're very like, I don't know, very engaging, have good stories, and it's got some good like beat 'em up style, like combat. You run around, beat up gangsters and random people in the street that cause you trouble. And then you do the classic, grab the shirt by the shoulder and then like
Right.
throw it off your body. That's only when you fight like a big boss dude. Like you got to get serious. You got to take off the shirt before the fight, and then the other guy does the same thing. Like, okay, we both doing this. And then they pan into the they pan the camera to the back. And you see the Yakuza tattoos on the back, like a dragon or a tiger or something. It's always pretty badass. But having a lot of fun with that. But I guess with that, you have what you been up to, Shannon? What you been up to this?
So I haven't really done anything this past week either, man. I continued watching that TV show Single Parents. I got to the second season of that. I watched, and I'm still not thrilled with it. Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett. Watching that on Disney Plus.
I haven't watched that one yet. Still,
I'm not too thrilled with it. Like I think I'm used to the action that was in Mandalorian and whatnot, and I'm not a big Star Wars fan. You know what I mean? Like I've watched the 9 movies that have been out there, right? But when it comes to all the other stuff they have out there, the Bad Batch, the clone stuff, the animated stuff, I haven't watched any of that, right? So like I'm not too deep into the story. So I know there's probably people that they're coming across that I'm like, oh, I should recognize them from this, that, or the third. And I just don't.
Right.
But no, I'm not being too thrilled with it, with what's going on. But I'm still going to give it a shot. So when I look on IMDb, I think it only says it has like 7 episodes or something like that, and they just showed 4. So I'm halfway through. If that rings true, right? Which is not always the case, because when they did the Marvel What If, like IMDb said one thing, but then it ended up being a different amount of shit, right? So it may not be the case. It could be 9 or 10. I don't remember what Mandalorian had. I want to say Mandalorian might have been 10, I think. So it could be the same way, but not thrilled with that. But that's kind of it. I haven't really been watching too much of anything, to be honest with you. I haven't really been going anywhere to do anything. After last week, I know the day after we did our podcast, I did go to Black Bear. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah,
you know, Black Bear.
Went and picked up some breakfast. You know, I had to send a picture out to the group, like, "Hey, man,
right,
you gotta be,
right.
Yeah, I might do it again tomorrow. I don't know. I might do it again. We'll see.
That's the spot right there.
Yeah, go get something to bring home. But yeah, I did play a little bit of Madden this week because I don't really play it that often, and it's just with every update, it seems to be getting worse and worse. But I actually have a question. I do actually have a question for you guys, though. So I'm starting to have this issue with my PS5 where literally half the time it does not connect online when I turn it on. Are you guys having this problem? And it's direct connect to my modem, so it's not even like I have a bad
it's not even a Wi-Fi or something.
Wi-Fi. Yeah, no, it's not even that, right? Like literally 50% of the time it'll say offline, and if I just do a restart of it, it comes back again. I don't have to wiggle any wires or anything, but it's starting to happen more and more. And I'm like, man, what's going on with this?
That's weird.
Yeah.
So I've only touched mine 3 times because it's in a different country. So
yeah,
I can't let you know.
I've only touched mine 3 times. It's right next to me right now.
Oh man!
Oh no!
Just joking.
I forgot you have to go to the other. I forgot you have to go to the other wing.
I gotta get a Uber to get to the other wing to get my chauffeur, my butler to carry me to the. Yes, Master Levon. Let me take you to the other wing. But yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't had that problem. I play mine periodically, and I haven't really had any issues with the connectivity when I power it on. Yeah, I can't say I've run across that one myself.
Yeah,
maybe something going on in rest mode. But yeah, I haven't even seen any articles about that.
I don't leave it in rest mode all the time. So I'll do rest mode, like if I need to charge the remote or something like that, I may leave it in rest mode for a little bit and then turn it back on. But like for the most part, it's off, and then I turn it back on again. And again, it's literally, I'm not even exaggerating, half the time it will do that, and a restart fixes it.
Interesting.
Like, man, what's going on here? It's not even like it's that old, but I use it for, like, it is my streaming device though, right? Like I don't have cable, so all my streaming services are going through my PS5. So I don't know,
Right.
Maybe I'm wearing it out, but like I don't even watch a lot of stuff on it all the time either. So I don't know. Well, maybe it's just me. I don't know. I could just have a bad one, I guess. I don't know.
So maybe your router cuts that port off. It's nothing plugged in here.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Then it
That could be something.
It shouldn't do it on the reset. Unless I go in there and change it, it shouldn't work on the reset.
Well, I would shoot a keep alive, right? Like usually, what are they? BPDUs bounce back and forth between whatever's whatever's plugged into the end device and the switcher router. So maybe it's just like it's no activity here, and then when it comes on, it has to pass that traffic again to get things rolling again.
Then why not? It should do it every time. It should do it every time.
DHCP and all that stuff. It should though. It should. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. That's all I got. But so what have I been doing? So a lot of resting because I don't feel well. So I've been under the weather for the past week. But I did, because I am sitting around a lot. I did get through Peacemaker, the first 4 episodes. I think this week was number 4. I like it. It's
a little different.
It's a little different, but it fits well with the character.
Shannon shaking his head.
Like, the guy, I can't remember. I meant to look up the actor's name that plays Peacemaker's father, and he's always cast in the same thing. He's always cast. I don't want to give it away, but he's always cast as a certain type of character. And he, if I'm him, I'm like, hey, stop casting me as this, like, before people think I'm really this way. But I like it. But it is different. Like it's a direct sequel to the movie. So when it kicks off, it says previously on the Suicide Squad, and it shows clips from the movie. So it's like a direct like pickup to what Peacemaker is doing after the Suicide Squad movie. So I thought it was interesting. John Cena is funny in it, but I'm trying to think, like, if you're looking for something that is thoroughly embedded in the DCEU or whatever they're calling it, it is, but from the Suicide Squad perspective. So like he mentions other characters, like they talk about Batman and Superman and Aquaman, but I don't think you'll ever see them on this show. But you may see other Suicide characters that survived the movie. And they reference it a lot. Like he had a flashback in the 4th episode that was directly from the movie. You're like, okay, like this is very ingrained. So I was watching an interview with John Cena on the Tonight Show, I want to say, or Jimmy Fallon, whatever show he's on. And he said that James Gunn contacted him and said, hey, I want to do something with Peacemaker. And he was like, isn't Peacemaker dead? Because you can't, right. It's ambiguous in the movie, so I'm not spoiling anything. Like you don't know who lives and who dies sometimes in the Suicide Squad movie. He says, nah, I'm gonna write something up and let me know if you're interested. He said he wrote all 8 episodes in 8 weeks because of the lockdown and gave it to him. He was like, absolutely, I will absolutely do this TV show.
So did they think he was dead at the end of Suicide Squad? I thought he was alive.
Yeah, wasn't there like a cut scene or something at the end?
Yeah, you have to watch the entire movie all the way through the cutscenes and whatnot.
That's been so long now. Like, put it out there. Like, we ain't spoiling anything. If you ain't seen it by now.
So my thought now though is that was a reshoot. Like perhaps that didn't exist until he wrote the Peacemaker script.
Maybe. And
then they went back and they did that scene. Because John Cena was confused. He was like, yeah, aren't I dead?
Yeah, you know what? You might be right. If that was his response, then you might be right on that.
Yeah. So I was like, that's pretty cool. But it's better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'll tell you that much. Because that was loosely in the MCU, right? Like this is like really in DC. So I like it. And then I marathon Station 11 on which is ironic because we're in a pandemic. But Station 11 is a TV show based on a book that came out in 2014, I want to say. But if they didn't predict the future, I don't know who did.
Right.
But it's one of those, like I tell Shannon all the time, it's not about the pandemic, it's about the people. So
right.
I don't know. I don't think you'll like this one at all. Not because it's not a good story, but because it's very long. It's very drawn out with lots of flashbacks and cutscenes, and they keep going back and forth through time. So you get to see the same locations, but you get to see them day 0 of the pandemic, day 100, year 1, year 20. That's how they skip around. But they're doing it in all the episodes. They skip around to tell the story, why people are acting the way they're acting, basically. But the premise is they get hit with a airborne virus that kills 99%. That's how effective it is. So there's very few people who are immune, but most people just so happen to be in the situation where they didn't get exposed. And so that's all that's left, just 1% of the population. So and then you go from there.
And there's probably still
what
people.
Does that look like? Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's still people out there like at this time, like, I ain't wearing no mask. I ain't wearing no mask. I want my freedom.
But they do have a radical group in it that I thought was kind of funny.
Oh.
Like they mention them and then they actually show them later on. You're like, oh, okay. But I thought it was good though. Like, but you have to marathon it. Like I couldn't see myself watching it week to week. I've gotten tired of it. But when you watch 3 or 4 episodes at a time, it opens itself up.
This is like with Walking Dead, where you told me it wasn't about the zombies. Every time I saw
it's not about the zombies, it's about the people.
Every time I saw a commercial,
right,
they key in on the zombies. I never watched it, so full disclosure, I never watched it. Right, but like, you're like, no, it's not about that. I'm like, Ryan, every commercial I see is zombies, man. Like,
the zombies are the motivation, right? Just like in this one, the pandemic is the motivation. Where they go from here. But
I put that one in my queue too. Yeah, I want to check that one out too, and I think it looks pretty good. I think I got some great reviews online, so I'm gonna check that one out too.
Yeah. Then what else?
See, but I can't take stories. So that's the thing, right? So like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Earlier, action.
I don't know. Earlier in my marriage, I watched a lot of stuff with my wife that I was just like, I have wasted so much time. It's like to the point where I was like, I'm not watching that. Like I'm very good at telling from a trailer whether or not I'm going to like something. I'm usually 99% on, right? So like I'm not one to sit there and be like, a lot of people like story. I'm like, I don't need that, right? I usually watch a lot of comedies, so I want to laugh consistently, right?
Yeah.
I'll watch like your Marvel stuff, your DC stuff, because I expect a lot of action, right? So I need that in my life. I don't need you telling me a story, and I don't need to get all introspective and into people's lives. See them.
Right.
Oh, that's what this is. This is nothing but
20 years. No, I don't need that. I don't need that. That's real life. I have to live a life of how I got to this point from 20 years ago. I don't need that. I need to escape from reality right now. So
Got you.
You are entertainment. You are not you're not turning the mirror back on me to show me my life. I don't want to see that. I don't need that.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's what this is. And it's during the pandemic. So
it's a perfect stage.
Yeah.
For the show.
So they timed it just right. Or not, I guess. But that's pretty much it for watching. That's all I really watched. And then I haven't been playing games, but I have been keeping track of gaming news. So we can segue into that. Microsoft has agreed to purchase Activision Blizzard King. So mega publisher with franchises such as Call of Duty, the #1 selling video game for the past 13 years, by the way.
Crazy.
I didn't realize that. 13
Sorry.
years in a row. It's been the highest selling game by NPD accounting. That will change.
Oh,
because when they shove it in the Game Pass, it's not selling per se, and NPD does not track Game Pass or any other subscription service. So they will drop out of and their competition is like, whoo. Like you might be getting played more than me, but I'm selling more.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily true though, right? Because then you get more Game Pass subscriptions at that point, right?
Yes, but Microsoft only divulges that when they want to, and you don't know what people are playing per se unless Microsoft tells you. Like the same thing with Netflix. You don't know what movie hit until Netflix tells you. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is number one." It could be lying. We don't know.
That's true.
We don't know what they know.
Microsoft's a big enough company where they ran the numbers on that, right? Like that.
Oh yeah.
There's no way they spent that's the most I've ever seen from an entertainment.
It's the biggest. I didn't even mention what it was, right? So it's is it 68.5 billion with
billion?
dollars?
76. I thought it was. Well, no, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. I had it
68, right?
Yeah, 68. It's about 70, close to 70 billion dollars.
Yeah, so almost 10 times what they bought Bethesda for. They bought Bethesda for just around 7 billion. I say just around, right? But this was half of Microsoft's war chest to invest in Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, Spyro, Crash, Tony Hawk, Guitar Hero, StarCraft. Like the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So now with all their acquisitions, Microsoft has one more studio than both Sony and Nintendo combined. That's what they just purchased. And it wasn't an Xbox purchase, it was a Microsoft purchase. It took half their war chest, gone, all cash. So the deal won't go through until next year. So there's still two independent entities until then. However, next year, we'll see what becomes exclusive and what doesn't. So it's humongous. Like it wiped off $20 billion off of Sony's stock. Gone in one day. Just people panicked. So it was a mass sell-off. And I think that's the equivalent of like 10%. Like 10% of Sony just vanished in a day because Call of Duty makes them so luckily we're behind the news, so we got a lot more information. So Call of Duty makes Sony $260 million a year off of just selling stuff off the marketplace, right? Because they take a share. So if you're on one of these companies,
systems
stores, if you're on a like Sony store or you're on Microsoft store or Xboxes or what have you, the typical revenue share is 70-30. So if you Activision put something out there on my system, I get 30% of the profit. So that is the current deal. And now everybody is like, what does this mean? Will Microsoft be friendly and allow these big franchises to remain on other people's hardware, or as an investment of almost $70 billion mean that some of this stuff will be exclusive? And now there's a precedent in Bethesda. Now that Bethesda is finally finished being acquired, any obligation or contractual agreement that was already signed or inked has been has been transferred. So like Deathloop and Tokyo Ghostwire are Xbox games with Xbox branding, but they're on Sony systems. However, so is Minecraft. Minecraft is still everywhere because Microsoft loves kids apparently. But anything new, like your new, what's it called? Starfield, which is a new franchise being made by Bethesda, is Microsoft exclusive. So what will happen to Call of Duty is the question. Well, because Call of Duty is two things now. Call of Duty is Warzone, which can remain on all platforms, and Call of Duty is the single player campaign that comes out every year. So will that change?
So they don't just get everything that's video game specific, right? So like they're going to get all types of intellectual right.
Yeah, they get MLG. Right? So Major League Gaming, the entire gaming scene goes to Microsoft. They own that now.
Well, even like, I mean, a T-shirt with that on there, right? Like all that money goes to Microsoft, right? Like it's not just inside the entertainment industry of video gaming. You know what I'm saying? So,
right. It's everything. Because to my knowledge, Activision has a bunch of movie products coming out based upon IP. So Call of Duty and Warcraft are getting TV shows and things of that nature. All that belongs to Microsoft now. Wow. So I think there was a release by Sony saying, like, basically it was weird, right? So it was after the crash of the quote unquote crash of the stock. They came out and said something to the fact like we hope Microsoft will abide by all the contractual agreements, yada yada yada. I think something they didn't really have to say, But to which Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, I think he has a new title now. Like he's like head of Xbox Game Studios or something like that. Came out and said we will, like CEO of Xbox or
Game
something
Studio.
like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something big. He's the king of Xbox now. Did come out and say that they will keep certain properties out there, but he can only say so much, right? Because the deal isn't done yet, so he can't sway investors and boards and things of that nature because he doesn't own Activision Blizzard King yet. But people are already speculating like maybe Call of Duty doesn't comes off an annual cycle, because that's been a big contention in gaming subculture, because they work their developers to death. They have 3 studios that can't do anything else but Call of Duty, and they churn one out every year because they have a 2-year cycle behind the scenes. So every 2 years, one of the studios is working on the next Call of Duty, and then they just keep continuously flip-flop. That's how they keep them coming out annually. So they said they may stop. Perhaps Call of Duty goes down to being every other year or every 3 years, like a regular game. Because Microsoft doesn't lose money in this case. Like they don't have, like they own it outright. So they don't have to do what was being done before. It's huge news. Like it could be great for the gaming industry because now if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you get everything. Everything that's not Nintendo exclusive or Sony exclusive is coming to you for $15. I expect that to go up though, just like Netflix goes up.
I was going to ask that. I was like, did anything come out saying Game Pass is going to go up?
No,
curious about that.
No, not yet. But you would think over time it will, because everything's coming to it.
This is actually
everything,
right?
Yeah, everything. Like almost every game that's not a God of War or a Horizon Zero Dawn or something with Mario in it can be found on Game Pass potentially. It's humongous. And when you think like right now they've grown to 25 million. But you look at something like Netflix, I had to look into it. They're over 250 million subscribers per month. Can it ever reach that? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the long-term goal Microsoft's going for. Like they don't want to be tied to any box. They want you to be able to play Game Pass. Because right now, cloud gaming, you can play it on your mobile. You can play it on your tablet. You can play it on your PC. You can play games anywhere for $15 a month. Can you imagine that? Like, you'll be able to play it on your TV or anywhere. Like we get out of having, like, you can buy the box if you're into consoles, or you could just play our games anywhere you want to for one price. It's kind of phenomenal. Like I'm usually, I try to be unbiased, but that's a power move. That's a big one.
It is. And I'm multi, console. I got all the consoles, I got all the all the generations and stuff like that, but it's a power move. It's a big deal. And I know Sony's coming out with their new thing in the next few months, sometime this year. They're doing their thing with
Spartacus.
Right, Spartacus. Trying to combine PS Now and PlayStation Plus into like one subscription. Pretty much trying to like copy what Xbox is doing. They're trying to like pull in that crowd and have some value there. But right now, Microsoft's doing all these acquisitions and these big name studios are coming together and they have a lot of value there. Day one releases, so it's hard to argue with what they're doing and the value that they bring to the gaming industry. So I guess it's to be determined, what comes up in the future, but I think it's going to become like a bigger, something that a lot of other gaming consoles, I think even Nintendo's kind of starting to do that too with some of their, you can subscribe and you can play some of the old games, Super NES games, Nintendo games. But right now, I think Microsoft is kind of like leading the charge, and they gotta, I don't know. Like I play Game Pass. So I play Xbox when I play anything else right now, and that's because of Game Pass, because I could play everything on there, and I play Yakuza's and all that kind of stuff in Halo. But PlayStation's a little bit more of an investment. You gotta like, okay, what game I want, I'm gonna pay like $60, $70 for it, and then play it for however long and get the next one.
Right, which I'm still excited. Like my game of the year probably will be God of War. So I'm excited about that if it does come out. Horizon, I'm not big on Horizon. I still haven't finished the first one yet, but people love it. Your Last of Us, like they have plenty of franchises.
Spider-Man.
So they'll survive and what have you. But I saw in another article, Phil Spencer was saying that basically like he alluded to this wasn't a power move against the other console makers. it's a power move against our tech rivals. So your Amazons, your Googles, your who else they mentioned? They mentioned somebody else.
Nvidia.
But
I don't know if they did.
I forget who else they said, but basically, like this is us securing a future against, like, because they have search, they have this, they have that. Like, what is he was like? Now Microsoft has gaming. Like, we can be to what Google is to search, we could be to gaming. So I thought that was a pretty basically it's not a slap in the face, but it's like these are not necessarily our competitors in this space any longer. Like, our competitors are bigger people because of the metaverse and all that other nonsense that's coming up in the future. Like, we can't just play these trivial games and make small acquisitions. Like, we need to do something bigger. And Activision Blizzard was probably ripe for the taking because they've had issues with misogyny and sexism and all types of other nonsense. Like, their shareholders are probably like, yes, please purchase us. Like, get us out of here.
Yeah, it's time for a change.
And their CEO should have been fired, but he'll walk away with a golden parachute. Like, they're estimating he's going to walk away with $400 million.
Believable.
Yeah.
Believable for somebody else to run it, right? Just say step aside. But Microsoft is out here acting like Xerxes right now, man. They're out here like, I am a generous God. Like, they came to the game late, but they're like, you will respect us. Like, that's
right. We got all this money behind us, don't we?
They're about to walk down. They're about to walk down from the throne. It's about to happen.
Right.
Yeah. So I've been speculating since the Bethesda deal. I've been speculating, like, and this is crazy theory, but hopefully I can repost this in the future. I think Game Pass will come to Nintendo and it will come to Sony consoles in the form of an app or a browsing feature. Because at the end of the day, people will stop buying your console if they can't play certain games. Like, if you're a COD player and Microsoft were to say all new COD games are going to be on our console only, I think they will bend the knee and they will allow certain games to be played via app or something. Because everybody's like, oh, Game Pass, like, that wouldn't be beneficial to them. They already stream other services. Like, Sony had its own marketplace for movies, but it bent the knee to YouTube and Netflix because they had to be an all streaming box. It had to be. Like, Nintendo suffers because they don't allow people to stream. Like, they allow YouTube, but they don't allow Netflix to stream on their console, and it causes issues to their bottom line. I guarantee you, they still printing money, right? You can't find a switch to save your life. But would there be more sold? Potentially. Like, if you're supposed to be in front of the TV and you want to consume things, you want to go to one box. And I think that's what Microsoft's going for, a one box future. Like, you don't have to buy us, but you have to pay us a subscription. I think that's where the money's at. But we'll see. People say it's far-fetched. Like, I got hate on Twitter by a random guy who's telling me I was crazy. I was like, all right. I posted this last year when he took Bethesda, and I reposted this year. Like, oh, they got another one. Got another one, coach.
Right.
I was like, watch this next year, Game Pass or the year after, whatever, because the acquisition won't take place until 2023, right? So that means COD is good for 2022. COD might even be good for 2023. But will COD be good for 2024? People will buy boxes just to play Madden and Call of Duty. That's just the way it is.
It's true.
So,
It's
that's my speculation.
I think it's it's very possible, very likely. I know it's something that even now, like Phil Spencer has been talking to Nintendo and Sony before that, hey, we should do something together where we can have Game Pass on your systems. And of course, they're like, nah, we're okay right now because they don't want to. It might be, maybe it'll potentially draw people away from the console, but the way I look at it, like you just mentioned, I mean, that could potentially be like, oh, I can just get a PlayStation and I can still play Xbox games now because I have a Game Pass access from there. Even though it'll be like streaming or whatever, but it'll still be, or maybe they can let them download. I don't know. But at the very least, it'll be streaming and they can access all the content. But yeah, nonetheless, it's an interesting thing. And I know Microsoft has a lot of money behind them. I think I was going to mention earlier, but I think if it really came down to it, I think Microsoft could buy Sony if it wanted to. But it's like I think that probably wouldn't even pass like the government regulations.
That would get
like
shut down, right?
Yeah, that's like a monopoly right there, real quick.
It's not really a monopoly though, right? You still have other game makers out there, right? Like you still have your Nintendo.
Like you got Nintendo,
a handful.
You got like two.
Because the way they're consolidating, right? Because so that's
Yeah.
the bad side about it. Like people are starting to think that perhaps this will cause other companies to have to consolidate to protect themselves. Because if you're not in Game Pass, people might not purchase you. So like I, for one, am a very cheap gamer. So I wait for things to either go on sale or I wait for things to hit Game
That's
Pass.
me.
I don't
That's
buy
me.
you out the gate. I don't.
Yeah.
Like if Halo had come out not on Game Pass, I may have bought Halo outright. But that's those big hits, right? That's that your God of Wars, your not Horizon, because I'm not a big Horizon fan, but your Last of Us. I buy those day one. Grand Theft Auto, I buy that day one because I know it's going to be a hit day one. But the smaller games, I wait. Like either Black Friday or Game Pass, and they said that's hurting smaller companies, so they may have to start folding into each other as well to shield themselves if they're not in Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That could be a negative.
Or just bend the knee because he's a generous guy. I'm telling you, if this dude, what you say his name is Phil Spencer, if you start seeing him with gold earrings and gold like necklaces, like looking like Mr. T, like Xerxes is,
being carried by dudes in costumes.
just walking with his arms out, just bend the knee. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is a power move. And I think people are still thinking about it as because I've never been big into console rivalry, right? I play everything. If you got a game I want to play, I'm going to find a system. But like Game Pass has really sucked up a lot of my time and energy because I'll get your Ratchet and Clank, I'll get your like I said, God of War drops. Like Sony still has those bangers that I have to get, but anything else, I wait. Like it's just the way it is. Like Game Pass will get it sooner or later.
Right, it's true. Yeah, if it's anything multi console, I definitely just wait for Xbox Game Pass or wait for it to get really cheap. But because and it maybe it's like a little nuanced thing, but the Xbox technically has like slightly better stats as far as like it can handle like more FPS than the PS5 in most games. But if they're like, if they are like optimized for each console, but that's normally where I play like the multi-console games on my Xbox. But obviously I like the bangers on the PlayStation, like you said, the God of Wars, the Spider-Mans, even like the Final Fantasy, stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's a power move, like you said, Shannon, bending the knee. You can't Microsoft walk around like a juggernaut right now. Like I'm just curious what the next
FPSs.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say FPS is the first person shooters, they got the whole market now. But what do you think is like the next acquisition that, because I think Phil Spencer said he's not done. Like he's gonna
they gotta stop because they're making it impossible. Like so my whole thing though is like also in the back of my mind I think about, so they talked about the top 3 now. So this move, like them purchasing this humongous publisher and all the studios, still puts them at number 3 when it comes to game revenue. So that number 1 is Tencent. That's the Chinese company that owns everything. They have their hooks into Fortnite and everything else. They're gobbling up everything. Then you have Sony, who's number 2. So Sony's still number 2, even though everybody's like, oh, you only have a handful. Like they have a lot of bangers that are Sony exclusives. And then it's Microsoft, number 3 now. So they still were not.
So they're saying it's number 3 even after this acquisition now?
Yes, after acquisition, they're number 3. That's how much revenue Tencent is, because like I think they said something like
gaming
Fortnite
revenue,
itself,
right?
Yeah, gaming revenue. Tencent itself makes like $1 billion like a week or a month or something like that off of Fortnite. It's like something ridiculous, like $2 million a day or something was just off mobile. It's crazy. And then Sony, of course, Sony sells you Sony exclusives for $60-$70 and you will buy them. Like I will have them.
You have no choice.
Yeah, but I can't even think of that many. Like what you said, I could think of those, right? Like so, your Spider-Man, your God of War, but like even with that, how is that still keeping them afloat, right? Because
Spider-Man sold 10 million copies by itself.
But Microsoft has Halo. Halo is a big one. I've never played it, but Halo is a big one, right?
It is.
I don't even know if they're still putting them out anymore, but they had Gears of War. I remember when Gears of War was coming out, that was going something like gangbusters. Like I don't even know when the last time Sony did a what's the guy with the eye patch Snake? What was it?
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid. The last time they did one of those. Yeah, like okay. Well, I don't know, man. I just can't. I can't think off the top of my head. I'm not a very big gamer, right? But I can't think off the top of my head what is still keeping them in second place after this acquisition.
So I think it's also a matter of attachment rate, right? So like there are over 120, was it 100 million? I think it's like 108, 110 or something like that million PlayStations out there. And for every one of those, people are buying your Uncharted's, they're buying your God of Wars. Like they sell more consoles with more exclusive games that you can only buy on their console. Where Microsoft did have before the acquisitions, they had Halo. And then that's it. So they had a few other games, but like if you own the Xbox, you own Halo, right? But how many other games can you think of that? Like if I own this, like if you have a Windows PC, maybe you can say also I have Flight Simulator, Forza. So there's 3, and that's pretty much it. But now they have Doom. They have, oh man, what else do they get from Bethesda? They got all the shooters. So they got Doom. They got Wolfenstein. They got what's the other Bethesda? Fallout. Oh man, there's so many other games. Are the arcane games under Bethesda's umbrella as well? So you get like your oh man, what's the name of the game? I used to play it religiously, where you can assassinate people and disappear behind them and stuff like that. But they get all that stock, but those games still don't sell as crazy as Sony exclusives. But now they get all of the Activision, Blizzard, and King stuff. Can't forget King, even though I don't play mobile games. You got your Candy Crushes and things like that. Skyrim. Yep. Dishonored. Dishonored was the game I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Elder Scrolls. Like they have all those that sell well, but your World of Warcraft now, but somehow all that still puts them in third. That's how much Sony was selling.
Yeah, but I wonder still like, I see, Shannon's kind of like questionable about that too. And I'm thinking, maybe like, they're kind of tabulating like since the acquisition, like what they've sold since then. But I mean, maybe if you go all the way back in time and you take up like all the stuff that they sold, potentially it'd be like maybe a closer competition, like, all the Skyrim games that were sold over like the course
right. I see what you're saying. Right.
10 years.
But yeah, I don't think they can count that though.
Right. They can't really count
what they currently have.
Right. And the last like
yeah.
They bought Bethesda like 2 years ago now, 1 year ago, I can't remember.
Right. Yeah. I don't think you can count past revenue because you didn't make it. Right.
Right. It's not like and then it's like, let's say have like continued like revenue streams, like the selling like, character packages or whatever, DLC and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's probably just like you said. You got something, Shannon?
Yeah. So do you think Rockstar Games will be the next one they
I don't. So I was thinking like Rockstar could be picked up, but they make too much money. Like this was kind of forced. Like they said that the rumors are that Bobby Kotick is the CEO of Activision Blizzard King, was shopping very secretly. Like this didn't even leak. That's what's so crazy about it. Like the Bethesda thing didn't leak, which surprised me, but it wasn't to this level. Like how did this not leak? Like I literally blinked twice when I saw it, because I saw it on my timeline. I was like, oh, it's April Fool's. And I was like, nah, I gotta look into this. And I clicked and I saw Forbes, CNBC, like all of them were all reporting. And then I saw Microsoft itself was reporting it. And I was like, how did no one see this coming? Because this is too big. But they said he was secretly shopping. So what if Microsoft did pick him up? What if it had? Because I don't think Sony or Nintendo has it in their war chest to make a cash offer like that. Like they probably would have to acquire them through shares and things of that nature. They just don't have Microsoft money. But who does have Microsoft money is Apple, Amazon, Tencent. Yeah. Like what if one of them would have got it? Like I think that would have been worse. Like I think Microsoft is the best place to put them, because they've shown like fair treatment of the developers, as well as they will share things like your Minecraft, things like that. But I best believe if a metaverse or Meta or whatever they call themselves, or Amazon would have acquired it, they were like, we ain't sharing nothing. You have to buy the Oculus to play Call of Duty now. You know what I mean? They would just cut it off.
It's all virtual. It's all 3D in your face.
So this was probably the best person to pick it up possible. And Tencent, like I don't have anything against them per se, but they're too big. Like Tencent's even in movie production. Tencent's everywhere. Like you'll see their little logo and you'll be like, I didn't even know they were in movies. But like I think that they were in the Transformers and stuff like that. Like they're actively putting their hooks in every single company very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they're doing big things.
So
then they have like,
yeah, it's gonna be crazy. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and there's some rumors out there talking about Ubisoft because they're doing some sort of thing where they're putting Ubisoft Plus on the Xbox systems now. I know they talked
So
about.
I was thinking that for EA too.
Yeah,
because EA already has EA Play, but they
Right.
already, if you buy Game Pass, you get EA Play games as well.
right.
But that would be ridiculous. But that I was thinking like, okay, that might be a monopoly if they pick up EA because they'll own Madden,
Like all the Maddens and stuff. Yeah,
but Sony owns
FIFA.
MLB.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the show is a Sony product, so I'm like, oh, I guess they could do that. And God knows Madden needs it.
Right.
They need somebody else.
Yeah,
That'll be
I think
2K.
yeah.
2K will probably be the one. Like I'm hoping the NFL just allows 2K to come in and just give competition. I'm not saying take it all the way away from EA, but you will make them do better if you give them competition.
Right. Because I prefer 2K over Madden. I remember when 2K was like $40, they were getting at them. It was
Mhm.
a better game. It looked better. It was cheaper. They were like, nah.
All that. Yeah.
Mhm.
They dropped.
Yeah.
They dropped. What did they drop? Like 10 million for the license or something like that. Like something ridiculous. Like, nah, we're not sharing.
Right. Yeah, it's
But,
crazy though. Yeah.
It is crazy. I think also they said like ZeniMax was trying to sell their portion of Activision Blizzard like 5-6 years ago. Like they own like 61% or something like that, and they're trying to sell it for like 8 billion or something like that. And just look how it's appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Especially if they still own that share, right? Like, geez Louise.
Yeah, not anymore though. So how does that work? So when a company who already has a board and already has everything acquires another company, they will force the board out too, right? Like the board will cash out.
So that's what goes into taking it a year, right? That's what goes into taking it a year and what they're going to do, right? So then they determine which CEO will end up running it and all those different sweet positions. Like because it's not a matter of pushing them all out all the time either, right? Like sometimes there will be people that are on one that got acquired that stay, right? And I don't know if they're looking at performance reviews or whatever they're doing, right? But sometimes you do get a mixed C-suite on there. Like you could stay on,
Gotcha.
and do this, that, and the third, but that's what takes a year, right? Like all that stuff that goes into it is determining all of that. Because I don't think it's a matter of just telling them this is how it's going to go down. I think they actually negotiate with those as well. So
yeah, so far we know that they will all report to Phil Spencer.
Mm.
He'll be the emperor of all these studios. And then they show the rest of the, and they're the way the new Xbox is set up, their team is very diverse. I want to say over half of them are females. They got Sarah Bond now. She's a Black female that was in charge of, I can't remember exactly what she did in gaming, but I've seen her a lot. I follow her on Twitter, making power moves. Really articulate when it comes to games. Because what's crazy though is like Microsoft has a lot of people who are our age or older who are in charge of their gaming division. So you see a lot of people who've grown up playing the same games that we played. So they have like a soft spot for franchises that are no longer around. So like things might get revived. I'll buy some plastic guitars. I'll play Guitar Hero again.
Right.
I'll do that. So
Yeah.
I'm really
classic.
excited. Like they could revive a lot of classics, could be brought back. So I'm like, okay, I like that because things got shelved for Call of Duty. They're like, we're a Call of Duty machine now. That's what makes us money. They no longer have to be a Call of Duty machine. It just doesn't have to be that way any longer.
Right.
So, and then I'm gonna play COD now because it's free. It's in my Game Pass. I stopped playing COD years ago. I was like, man, this is whack. But if they put the tools and resources in it, yeah, I'll jump back in. I'll start playing again.
You said it was whack, but it was the best #1 game or highest selling game for 13 years straight.
It's the same thing with, it's like Madden. Like I'm like, how do y'all still playing this? Like this is not good. And that's the way 2K basketball is going. Like I tried playing with my son. I was like, this is like it wasn't the the pre-programmed teams with their stats because they made sense, right? You just have to pick a team that's not crappy. But it's when you take my player and you try to rank up, it was making me so mad. Because how did my dude make it to the league and he's a C player? And I got to keep putting points into him. I got to buy coins. I got to buy tokens. Like it's too much. Like buy them. Matter of fact, there we go. Phil Spencer, buy 2K. I'm tired of these microtransactions. Buy them too.
That's right. Yeah, get some. Yeah, that'd be pretty nice.
Who else wants some? We buying everybody up now. Go nickel and dime me. But no, I hated it. Like I stopped playing it. I was like, I can't get down with it because like my dude should not be this garbage, and he came into the league. Like, it doesn't even make sense. No, you're just taking money from me now.
Yeah,
but that's my 2 cents. But we'll see what else unfolds. You know, anybody else got any other thoughts?
I was gonna throw out one last quick thought because I know this episode's kind of running. You know, we're getting close to the end here, but I saw earlier that I think PlayStation might have some sort of announcement tomorrow. Because tomorrow's like January 23rd, 1, 2, 3, and then people are suspecting that PlayStation can announce some sort of like backwards compatibility thing or something, maybe with the PS5, because PlayStation 1, 2, 3, you know, are not backwards compatible on the PS5 right now. But guess we'll see. We'll find out. Maybe it's something we'll talk about next week.
Yeah, they better. They got to give us like even though they're doing great, right? They got the fastest selling machine. Like all the machines are doing great.
Right.
I got some bangers come out this year. Just that announcement was like, that's going to be the biggest announcement for the whole year, right? That's going to be the news cycle for the rest of the year. Will be Microsoft purchased everybody.
Right. So, yeah, they got to put something in the news for sure.
Yeah.
So with that,
like I'm down for the emulation. What's up?
With that Sony thing, if that's what they're going to say, is that they're going to have backwards compatibility for PS1, 2, and 3, like, would you even really want to play something that was on PS1? Like, how much upscaling do you have to do to make that something you want to play now?
There's a few games I missed. There's a few games I missed that I would come back for.
Okay, I think it's because you have the nostalgia on it, but when you see it, especially you, because you a video phobe. You like if it ain't up to par for you, Ryan, like you ain't having it, man. Like, I don't know, it's just some stuff like I don't know if I could play the first God of War, you know, for PS2. Right. PS2 was it? It's
PS2.
Yeah. I don't know if I could play that on a PS5 now. I'd be like, oh, okay.
maybe though. Because so Microsoft already does the backwards compatibility, right? So I've gone back and played some games, and they look how you think they looked when you were younger, but then you'll go back. Like Halo was notorious for this, right? So if they released a Halo Anniversary Edition, you could hit the button and it will show you the previous graphics. And you're like, this looks pretty good. They did a good job with the remake or whatever. Like, but it pretty much looks like when I was a kid. You hit the button, you'd be like, oh, how did I play this? Like I showed my son, he was like, oh, the games were trash when you were younger.
Yeah. Yeah. How do we even play this?
So I think they can do a pretty good job. But they got to focus real hard on their bangers, your Gods of War, your Spyros, Crashes, your Metal Gears. Because I've missed Metal Gear 5, but I can play that now though. But there's a whole bunch of gamers like my son who have not played these games, so maybe. But just having a feature is goodwill, right? Just having the ability to play these things, unlike Nintendo, who's charged me arm and a leg for emulated games. Like, how many times I got to buy Mario, the first one? How many times, Nintendo? Matter of fact, buy it. No, it's playing.
Yeah, they are kind of notorious for that. It's kind of it's a little annoying, but yeah, they try to sell the same game on a different system. Like, upgraded the graphics
over and over again. But I'd be down for it. Like, I don't know about this announcement though. Like, I've seen it too. Like, now it's all on my timeline. People are waiting for the countdown, the 1, 2, 3. I hope it's something fantastic, because if it's something lame, they don't get drugged.
Right. Like, yeah, really. Like, put me to sleep over here, Sony.
Yeah, they should be in Japan right now to like cancel everything.
Right.
Any announcement, cancel it. We got to think of something better.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see. But thank you. It's a good episode. Like it's always a good time, having a conversation. For all of you out there listening who made it to the end of this episode, definitely subscribe because you're definitely subscriber material to make it through all 50 some odd minutes of us talking about just crazy stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Hit up the website www.theothersidefirewall.com. We can get to all of our socials. Hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy on LinkedIn, Twitter, Clubhouse, and TikTok. And you, Levon?
Yes, sir. You can hit me up on the Twitters at Levon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.
Take care.